Excellent. You ready?
Okay.
Okay,
Ready.
here we go. All right. Everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I'm going to go through and explain each form, what the function of each form is. This particular one is the judge's information worksheet. What it's for, the judges use this to actually score each contestant. Okay. There's a lot of different categories that they go through and fill out. Okay. I'm just going to go over these rather quickly, and then I'll come back and do a more in depth. Okay. Next is actually, I'll go to the timers worksheet because that's a little simpler. This records how much time a speaker uses for his speech. We should have either 2 or 3 speakers, so we'll be using columns 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Jumping back to the tellers worksheet. This is also 2 sides, but I'm just going to concern myself with the second side today. This is where the actual winner of the contest is determined based on the judges' scores. Okay. We'll also discuss how things interact between the various worksheets. Okay. I'll be using this workflow sheet for the most part and just kind of going through it and going from there. I'll discuss each step, show where the information goes and how it's used. Okay. If you look at that workflow sheet, the first thing that happens is the judges, the tellers, the timers, and the chairman will be pushed into what's called a breakout room. I'm not going to go into a long explanation of that right now. What it is, it's a separate meeting, which is kind of a sub meeting of the regular meeting. They go into their own room. They could talk back and forth between each other, and the people on the other side or the other meeting will not hear them or anything. Okay. First thing, the chairman will ask the judges if they're through scoring. If you look at the form, there are 10 columns. We should have 3 speakers, so only the first 2 or 3 columns will be used. And this form is designed so that as numbers are entered, if they do it online or inside of Acrobat, I'll enter all 2s here. You'll see that there are 10 items, so it ended up counting to 2 right here. Everybody see this little spot right here?
Yes.
Okay. That's where the score adds up. Okay. Secondly, the chairman going to the first box in the on the right hand column. Pardon me, my brain is not working today. The chairman will ask each of the timers, and I believe we'll have 3, if any of them have one of the speakers as being under 5 minutes or over 10 minutes. Okay. And the reason that is, there's a 2% penalty for going either under or over per minute. Okay. I'm going to jump back to the judge's sheet, and you'll see right down here, there's a row. Okay. And in each one of those little boxes, there can be penalty minutes added. Okay. Now say the first speaker had a score of 20 and he went over 2 minutes. So a 2 would be entered there, and an automatic 2% penalty would be figured and totaled down at the bottom. Everybody see this?
Uh-huh.
Everybody on the same page?
Uh-huh.
Okay, excellent. Any questions so far? Cool.
No, but,
Excellent.
uh,
All right.
just
The
because I
next
can't.
thing, what was that?
I said just because I don't really understand what's going on, so I don't have any questions to ask.
Well, you should be able to see the forms on your screen.
I do. I
Okay.
do.
Okay. Well, just try to follow along. What's going to happen next in this, as referred to in the second box in the right-hand column, in numerical order, the judges, we should have 3, announce their scores for each contestant. We'll have either 2 or 3. So judge number 1 says his score for speaker 1, speaker 2, and speaker 3. This form is designed to be on the teller's filled out by hand by the teller. And what all they do is write the numbers that the judges gives them from the bottom line on the judges, on each judge's scorecard. Okay. Everybody with me?
Yes.
That I understand.
Okay. So if we have 3 speakers, if we have 3 speakers, those 9 boxes should have scores in them by the time the judges finish announcing their scores. Okay. So any questions about all that?
Nope.
Okay, excellent. Get rid of that. Anyway, Judge, going to the next sheet. Now it's time for the tellers to actually start using their sheet. What we're looking at is test number 1, right here. Not lined out very well, but anyway, right there. Okay. And what happens is the teller is using the judges' scores from the other sheet, from this sheet, determine who is first, second, and third for each judge, enter the first, second, or third place in each of these places for each contestant. And down here, they would enter the total number of first places. So if speaker number 1 received 2 first places, he would have a 2 placed here. Okay, so I'll do that. All right, so that you'll understand. He has 2 first places, so a 2 would be entered there. Fair enough?
Okay.
Everybody understand? And
Uh-huh.
then they say speaker number 2 has 2 second places and a third place. All right. He would have no first places. And then over here, this person would have a 1 here, a 3 here. You see how it works? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can only have so many places. This person only has 1 place. Okay. So what happens is this person has a majority of first places. So the teller's worksheet determines that they are the winner. All right. Now say perhaps there's a tie. All right. This person has 1 and that person has 1 and this person has 1. So all 3 have 1. Sorry, this keeps moving in and out. In which case we would have to go to test number 2. All right. Test number 2. What happens is the numbers that were entered above their first, second, and third places. So speaker number 1 had, well, actually, this would be a 2. Okay. Oops. 1. That's more or less how it would look. What happens is for each person that is tied, in this case it's a three-way tie, you enter all of the scores from up here. Okay, so it'd be 1, 2, and 1. Okay, and then it would be a deep 2, 1, 3. Oops. And here would be a
excuse me, Lyle,
3, 3. What was that?
I do have a question. So in your third column, where up at the top you have a 3 and a 3.
Well, judge number 2 placed him as a third place. Each
Okay.
judge's line is, since we have 3 speakers, there's a first place, a second place, and a third place.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
For each judge.
Who's filling out all those numbers? We are?
Well, right now I'm filling it out.
Okay,
okay.
but in the actual...
But in the contest, the teller would do it. Okay. The teller is complete. We would have hopefully 3 timers and 3 tellers. And the timer and the teller are the same person. Zenaida, if you're a timer and a teller, you'll be filling out 2 forms, the timer sheet and the teller sheet. Understand?
The timer sheet. Let's see.
This is way too complicated.
I
You have
have
the papers?
well, I'm looking at which one.
I can't see what you're looking at. Just
have
tell
the
me what it
timer-
says
I
at the
have
top.
the timer worksheet,
Right.
and I have the
The
speaker.
teller's worksheet.
Yeah, I have the teller's worksheet second in my paper.
Okay. Well, put all the rest of the papers aside. That's all you need right now.
Okay.
That's all you need to be concerned with.
Okay.
Since you're going to be a timer and a teller, those are the only 2 sheets you need.
Okay.
I sent the other ones just so you'd have the information. Okay.
Okay.
During the contest, you would only use the timer sheet to time and the teller sheet to add the information up.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay. So as you can see, I've copied all this information from up here. I copied it down here, and the totals have been entered down here. You see it?
Yes.
If you do it in the computer, it will add it up for you automatically. If you do it by hand on a paper, you need to add the numbers together. Okay. So right now, speaker number 1 has a 4, speaker 2 has a 6, speaker 3 has a 7. So the person with the lowest total of places with a 4 is the winner.
Okay.
Okay. Now say 2 people have a 4 for some reason. Okay. I don't think it could work out that way in this system, but let's just say it does. We would have to go down to test number 3. Okay. And you would only bring down the information for the people who are tied. Say speaker number 1 and speaker number 3 are tied. Okay. And in here, you would enter the information from this sheet. We have 3 judges. For speaker number 1, you would enter these 3 scores. For speaker number 3, you would enter these 3 scores in these places. Speaker number 1, speaker number 3. And once again, this column will, if you do it in the computer, this column will automatically add the information for you. Okay. I'm only entering, okay. And here, the winner is the person with the highest score. Okay. It's a little confusing. The information on how to determine the winner is right below each set of squares. Okay. So you'll know where it's located.
So test 2 has the lowest and the third is the highest.
That it says it right on the sheet.
Right.
Okay. It's easy to get confused. That's why I like to go over it as many times as possible so it kind of gets straight in your head.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Could I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
What's this 7 here? Is that the time?
No.
In here,
4.
Yeah.
that okay, you were not paying attention. The judges' scores are announced by each judge for each speaker. Judge number
Okay.
1 says, I have this for that for 1, that for 2, and this for 3. And
Okay.
they're written down by the tellers on this sheet. What we're doing is we're taking these numbers from the first 2 or 3 columns on the judge's sheet, the last box. He's announcing it because we can't see it. In a live contest, the teller would have the judge's sheet. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But since we're online, we have to get the information from the judge. And the tellers would write the information down as the judge announces it.
Okay.
Okay. Now, for speaker number 1, there's 1, 2, 3 scores.
Right.
I'm supposing that speaker 1 and 3 are tied. Okay. Here's the 3 scores for speaker number 1. Here's the 3 scores for speaker number 3. Those would be transposed to these squares. Judge 3 scores for speaker number 1, 3 scores for speaker number 2. The winner would have the highest total score. Understand what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
These numbers are added up here. The person with the highest number would be the winner on this test. Understand?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So something I don't understand is you said speaker 1 and speaker 3 are tied,
Yes.
but when I'm looking at those columns, they don't look tied to me.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't have hard and fast numbers written down. Understand what I'm saying? I'm just using these as an example. During the actual contest, the numbers will be totally different. Understand what I'm saying?
Fundamentally, I do, but it would be easier if we had actual numbers
Okay.
that would.
Let's do this.
So
Okay.
does it start at 6 and then goes lower or higher than 6, being the
And
average?
no, if you look at the judge's sheet, try to understand how the scoring works. These numbers could be say speaker number 1 has all 10s. In other words, he's an excellent speaker. He ends up with 100 here. Understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Okay. He spoke for 7 minutes, so there's no penalties. His net score is 100.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, got that.
All right. He announces that. So for the teller, 100 would be written here.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you look at the judge's sheet, he scores each speaker individually. Okay. Each speaker has a column. Now
Uh-huh.
say this speaker does very well too. He gets all 9s. Okay. He
Uh-huh.
has no penalties.
Uh-huh.
So his score is 90. When he
Uh-huh.
announces it, 90 would go right in here.
Mhm.
Speaker 1 or judge number 1, speaker number 2.
Sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now say speaker number 3 gets all 8s. Okay. He ends up with 80. Got it?
Sure.
Yep.
All right. So on this sheet, for speaker number 3, 80 would go in here.
Sure.
So you'd have 100, 90, and 80.
From
Got
the
it?
first judge.
Right. Now, if it gets to the third test and speaker number 1 and 3 are tied somehow, there'd be a 100 in here and an 80 in here. Understand?
No.
Because if you look here, the total adjusted score, this speaker did very well. He got 100. The third speaker didn't do as well, but somehow got tied and it only had 80. Understand?
How
No.
can he get tied if he only has 80 and the other one has 100?
Well,
Right.
it can happen. Okay. Don't ask me how. I'm just saying you're overthinking this. Okay.
I know. I know.
You don't overthink it. Just use the information that is presented by the scores. That's all. Don't
Okay.
overthink it.
All right.
I have never seen it go to the third test. Ever. Okay. Usually, a lot of times there could be a tie in the first test. It's usually settled in the second test. I'm only going over this so that we understand the principles involved. Okay.
Okay.
The numbers on in the actual contest will be totally different. Okay.
So, Lyle,
Yes.
question. When you go to the second test, okay,
Yes.
Are you saying that the judges are rethinking
No.
what
The,
they
the judges are done.
okay?
Only we're only judging. We're only computing now based on the scores involved.
Okay.
Okay.
So Lyle, if I
The
can,
judges are finished. The timers are done. The only people working now are the tellers. Understand? The only thing we're looking for in test number 1 is a majority of first places. How
Yes.
many ones in this column? How many ones in this column? How many ones in this column? Okay. That's all we need to know.
Because that indicates first place.
A 1 would be first place. If we have speakers, there's going to be a first place, a second place, and a third place. Understand?
Right.
Okay. For each judge, there's a 1, 2, 3. Understand?
Uh-huh.
sure. But when I look at the columns, column 1 and column 2 look tied. Column 3 does not look tied at all. So I'm just going by the numbers.
I forced the numbers just so
okay.
I could have a tie.
Okay.
Okay. These are not real numbers.
Okay.
All right.
In other words, you're just plugging in the number.
I'm
but
just
there's no
plugging in
meaning
numbers
there.
to have numbers there so you can see where they go. That's it. This is not an actual contest. I promise. You're not going to be scored on this. Don't overthink it. All we need to do is if we have 3 speakers and 3 judges, know that speaker or judge number 1 is going to have a first place, a second place, and a third place person. Judge number 2 will have a first place, a second place, and a third place. Judge number 3 will have a first place, second place, and a third place. If you look at the judge's worksheet, it says, do not score each person the same. It's their duty. If it's really close, you have to give one person a slightly better score than somebody else. Okay. That is part of the judge's responsibility. We can only work with the numbers that the judges provide. Understand?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what if
Okay.
a judge does score them the same?
Then the judge has to rectify that situation.
Okay. So we'd bring the sheet back to the judge and say, fix it. You
Well,
can't.
it's if the judges will have the sheets themselves, they have to compute all this information.
Sure.
Okay. It's up to the judge to fix it.
Okay.
I have two quick
Go ahead.
questions. Is all of this information the same as we had last year in person?
Yes, it is.
These exact same sheets and everything?
Yes.
Oh, because see, I never saw that part of it. My other question is, does the number of judges depend on the number of contestants?
Hmm.
So
No.
if you're only going to have 2 speakers, you only need 2 judges?
No, we always have 3 judges. We always have 3 or more judges.
If you look at the judge's worksheet, there
haven't
could
done
be
that.
up to 5 judges, I think, are specified in the rules, Paul.
I just know it's 3 or more. I don't recall a 5
Yeah.
max, but it could be.
Okay.
Okay, because you want an odd number.
I believe so. I honestly don't know.
Well,
I don't
because
know what I don't have. I've never seen the actual complete rule book, so I
If
can't
two-
tell you that.
if you only have 2 judges and they're tied, who's going to break the tie? You have to have
We always have 3 judges. That we have
3
to have 3
judges.
judges. 3 or more.
Once again,
Minimum 3.
don't overcomplicate it right now.
No, I'm
Okay.
not, but so far I only have 2 judges because I didn't know I needed 3. I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, sometime between now and April, you need to find at least one more judge.
Yeah.
Okay,
And it not a lion, right?
not a lion, correct?
But can the tellers and the timekeepers be lions?
Yes. At least
Okay,
as
so I
far as
might
I
be
know, they
coming-
can. Paul, you.
I might
what-
be coming to
They've
our
always
club
been
for
lions.
those
The
people.
tellers and timers have always been lions in my contests,
Okay.
but not the judges.
Sharon, you'll have to get a hold of the rule book itself and look in the rule book.
Okay.
I believe they can be lions.
No, I was told they can't be lions. The judges cannot be lions.
No, the tellers and the timers.
Oh, they can be lions. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think they can be lions, but the judges cannot be.
I have the
okay,
rules
yes.
here in front of me. It says at the club, zone, and region, required that at least 3 at least 3 qualified individuals who are not lions and have had speech training or experience should be selected as judges. So
Yeah.
that's why I've always gotten the 3 or more. I've
Yeah.
never seen anything about 5 or even an even number. I mean, if we had 4 judges, would that screw things up? I don't think so.
I don't know.
Well, it on the teller's worksheet, there's places for up to 5 judges.
Correct. So it goes on to say at the district area and final contest, 5 judges should be used.
Oh, so this is
Right.
these worksheets are for all of the contests.
Right. Okay. So are we more or less understanding that this is just putting the numbers in there? It's not live. It's non-consequential. I'm using this as examples of how to, so you'll understand what happens when things end up in the meeting. Understand?
Yes.
Okay. So you kind of get it now, more or less, or do you have some understanding of how it works?
I do now. Yes, at least I know what the teller does, and I know. Well, the timekeeper I know because I've done that.
Right.
But I
Now,
didn't understand what the teller's job
Okay.
was.
Zenaida,
Now
do
I
you have
understand.
okay, Zenaida, do you have an understanding of what's going on?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay. When in doubt, read the information under each set of boxes.
Right.
That tells you how to determine the winner. Hey, Steve.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
No worries.
Good.
We're pretty well into it now. Sorry.
That's okay. I was reading the material, so
Okay.
I'll catch up.
Okay.
No problem.
And then if by chance, and I've never heard of this happening, although it could at the upper levels with a lot of speakers, there's still a tie after the 3rd test. You use the 4th test down here, which is based on the time used. Okay. Just read the information, try to get an understanding of what it is. It's pretty simple. It's not hard. None of this is very difficult.
Yeah.
Okay. All you need to do is read the forms, how they interact, and go from there. Okay. Any more questions? We kind of got caught up in the judge's, or actually the teller's worksheet, that the numbers weren't adding up, and I kind of just threw numbers in there as examples, and everybody was worried that the numbers were wrong. But I finally convinced them it didn't matter in this particular case. In the actual contest, the numbers will be more real. Understand?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Anybody have any questions on any of the forms?
Not at this time. No.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to close all these real quick. Now, I'm going to show you one of the main reasons that I recommend everybody use Adobe Acrobat. All right. Somebody's got an echo going. But anyway, it doesn't matter for this sequence of boxes. Only the first places are calculated, and it's calculated just by eye. Okay. What's important is on these and all the subsequent boxes, the math is added up down here automatically. Okay. Now, there are any number of PDF programs available for computers. Okay. And I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to open up a different one. Okay. This is another PDF reader that is called, well, it doesn't matter what it's called. Okay. Now you saw that the math was working in the other one, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now watch this. Voila. You'll see that the math does not work, because although this program reads PDFs, it does not recognize the math. That's why I recommend Adobe Acrobat Reader. It will definitely follow the math. Understand? Now, if I were to close this, I'll erase all the numbers, and I'll close it, and then I'll open it again. Okay. What's going to happen is, if I were to, well, sorry. Let me go back to Acrobat.
Woo.
I'll open that same file that I used in the other program. Now, if I were to try and do the math on this, it worked previously, correct? That program broke this form. This form has no math in it whatsoever anymore. Because I opened it in the other program, it just totally broke it. That's why I'm trying to emphasize the reason for using Acrobat.
So how do you fix that?
The only way to fix it is to recreate the form. Once it's broken, it's broken. Okay. And I know it's kind of rotten, but that's the way it works. I'm going to go back to another one of those forms. I'll show you another reason that to use Acrobat. All right. Now you'll notice up here, when you open a form or a PDF in Acrobat Reader, these tools up here open up for you. And you'll see one here that looks like a pen, the tip of a pen. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Let's choose that. Okay. This is one of the nice things about Acrobat Reader. Now, right now, there are no signatures set up inside this program, and that's fine. Oh, here we go. I'm going to tell it to add a signature. All right. Now let's say, okay, that's my signature. I just typed my name in, and it's my signature. What it's going to do is it's going to give me that. See this floating signature right here? I'm going to take it on I'm going to take it up to this judge's signature required and drop it on that line. Okay. Now you see my signature is there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now you can see that this is a functional form. Okay.
Yes.
I'm just going to enter ones in that column. Okay. Now I'm going to save this form by clicking the next button. You see that asks me to save. Okay. Just going to close that and save the form. These things are crazy. I'm just going to save that to the desktop. Okay. Now you saw that it was a fully functioning form, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to drag that back into Adobe again. And if you'll notice, my signature is there, but all the form fields have been removed. But all the information that I entered remains. So this is a good way for me to email the form to the chairman, and it can't be changed. The information can't be changed from when the judge did it or whatever form it happens to be. That's another reason I recommend using Acrobat. Everybody following?
Yep.
Yeah. Pardon me, live.
Okay. So with all that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because that's pretty much all I have to say. Anybody have any questions? Any further questions?
On the
Go ahead, Zenaida.
On the forms you sent us.
Yes.
Can we practice navigating on those just to see how they?
Sure.
And you can just
absolutely. You're not going to. If you use Acrobat Reader, you're not going to damage the form.
Okay.
Okay.
I just want to make sure
if
that if I practice things
yes,
like that,
if you enter information into any of the fields and you close the form, it'll ask you if you want to save it. Just say no.
Okay.
Got it. You're not going to damage the form at all.
Got it. Thank you.
It should be pretty simple.
Yeah.
And then also Acrobat also allows you to open multiple forms. Say you as the teller want to open those two forms. Okay. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay. If you open both forms in Acrobat, what happens is it will open both forms and put each form in a tab.
Yeah,
You see how I'm doing that?
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's very convenient. You can have, I had 5 forms open at one time. All I did was hit the tab to go from one to another. Understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's an effective way for you to open multiple forms and have multiple forms available all at one time. Okay. Now, a nice thing is you won't have to have these open during the regular meeting or during the speeches. You'll have to open these when you go into the breakout room. Okay. And you can have this open on your, I'm going to stop sharing. You can have it open on your desktop and still have the Zoom window open as well. In other words, you can still talk back and forth and you can be filling these forms in. Understand what I'm saying? And you could be asking the other tellers, hey, I forgot how to do this. Tell me how to do it. Unfortunately, that's going to make the breakout session really long. And that's why I wanted all the timers and the tellers especially to be here so they can understand what they're doing and didn't look for a lot of advice or a lot of instruction in the actual session. They can have the information, get it done quickly. I still feel it's probably going to take 20 minutes to a half hour at least to complete all the forms for everybody, to get all the information back and forth. And, there's going to be questions, and Paul, you're going to have to handle that. You're going to have to be aware of what's going on. So you might also want to have all the forms open on your desktop so you can refer to them.
Sure.
Or have the paper forms in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever works best for you. Okay. Everybody's going to do it differently. Not everybody's going to want to do it the same. Not everybody's going to want to do it in the computer because a lot of older people are just not comfortable with it. Okay. If you're not comfortable with it, do it by hand. Print the forms out, do it by hand.
As I understand what you're suggesting, you will not be in the breakout room, correct?
I will. I can move back and forth.
Oh, great.
Between the regular room and the breakout room.
So how do we? Initially, all of us will be in the regular room listening to the speakers.
That is correct. Yes.
How do we get into the breakout room?
Yes. The timers, the tellers, the judges, and you will be going into the breakout room. You can all confer with each other.
How do we get into the breakout room?
I'll send you into the breakout room. Oh. When the time comes, I'm the host. I'm the only one that could do that. Okay.
Okay.
If I made you a co-host, you can do it too, but you're going to be busy doing other things.
Sure.
So you don't want to be bothered with choosing people off of a list. You're going to be busy, making sure the speakers are on time, blah, 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 whatever it happens to be. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So, and, although I can make somebody else a co-host as well, more than likely, they're not going to know what to do with the breakout room. So me as host, I can move between the two rooms, although I can't see the advantage of it at this point. Yep. You have as much information on the forums as I do.
Sure.
Okay. I'm just lucky that I pick things up very quickly. And I'm lucky enough to be able to remember it. If you ask me next week about what form does what, I may say, what form? but right now, since I've been working with it so much, particularly in the last week, it's all right there in the front of my mind. It's at my fingertips. Okay. And I had hoped that the timers and the tellers were here, they would get a grasp of it and maybe look at the forms a little bit in the next 2 or 3 days. And by Wednesday, really have it down in their mind how it works. That was my hope, because that's going to make your breakout room fast and efficient, which would be great.
Yeah. But when I've seen it in person, because I've been to the student speaker contest, you know, from our club to the zone
Right.
to the region, I followed them. And in person, it looks much different than what we're doing now on Zoom.
Well, the advantage is when the contest is done, the judges hand their worksheets to the chairman, and then the timers hand their worksheets to the chairman. The chairman and the tellers leave the room or go to the back of the room or whatever. And there's usually 3 or 4 people. They confer, you know, they do their mumbo jumbo, and it, you know, in the meantime, in our meetings, we have dinner, which is a great time filler. It gives the tellers and everybody else time to do their job. Okay. So in our Zoom meeting, we're going to have, like I said previously, 20 to 30 and hopefully 20 to 30 minutes that everybody, you know, those people are going to be in a breakout room. And the only reason they're being pushed to a breakout room is because everybody needs to know everybody's information. We can't hand them the sheet. Okay.
No, I understand that. And you can't ask the speakers to leave the room because they're, you know, it's Zoom. Right?
Well, yeah, no, it's you know, you're forced into a different situation where there is going to be a break that needs to be filled in with something, and you're going to need to plan on that. When the timers and the tellers and everybody else goes into a separate room, somebody needs to be there to fill in and have something prepared. Otherwise, they're going to be sitting there looking at themselves. So they have to have something set. Hey, when the time comes for everybody to leave go into the separate room and do the scoring, we need to have, hey, we're going to play music or we're going to tell jokes or whatever. You know, hire a comedian. I don't know, but I'm just saying that's a problem. And the only reason it's a problem is because we're in a Zoom meeting. Well, let's say we're done. I think we are. We can talk about various aspects, but I think that the major part of this is all done. What I am going to do is I recorded this meeting, and I will put the parts. I'll make a video and put it on our channel and send links to everybody so that if they have questions, they can look at the video again and perhaps answer their own questions. Hopefully that's going to work.